Good evening and welcome inside a Geisman Gymnasium for a NAC conference matchup between the 2-5 IIT Scarlet Hawks and the 5-0 Concordia University Chicago Cougars. Carter Gledhill, Peter Borkowski with you on the Cougar Sports Network as the Cougars return home for their first home conference match of the season, and it comes after a win on the road, a one-point victory over the Edgewood College Eagles. The Cougars are now out to their best start since the 1978-1979 season, 5-0. And Peter, they relied on a couple key players in that one-point victory over the Eagles, and it was Jacob Collicott and Brent Hatton, 20 points apiece for the duo, and that was a big game for the Cougars because it wasn't just the Jordan Matthews show, although he did drop 18 points with 7 rebounds. It was a collective effort from the starters that really went against an experienced Eagles team, and it came down to the wire in the end.
The Eagles put up a really good fight, especially in that second half, Carter. 50-36, the Eagles won that second half of the game. So Cougars really had to claw their way to get that win. But, Coach Collar talked about it on our Coaches Weekly this past week about how this team, they'll let teams, maybe they'll let teams back in the game, but they know how to hit those big-time shots. Even if they're not shooting particularly well overall, they know when to hit those shots to put them in the lead and pull out close victories like this one over Edgewood.
And the Eagles had the Cougars' numbers in the second half. The Eagles outscored the Cougars 50-36, but a bigger difference was behind the three-point arc where the Cougars were 4-7 in the first half from deep. Well, they were only 1 for 6 from the three-point line in the second half. We're talking about those big shots this Cougars team usually relies upon at times, and they really went for inside the paint in the back end of the game against Edgewood. But the three-point shooting has been a struggle for this Cougars team as of late.
29.6%. That's the Cougars' mark from beyond the arc so far this year. That's second worst in the conference, only to that Edgewood squad they beat. So three-point shooting, it's not something the Cougars overly rely on. Like we said, they're still 5-0 even with that poor shooting mark. But, you imagine, all right, they're already this good. What happens if that shooting percentage gets up just a little bit? This could turn from a really good team to a really great team.
And one player that's really stepped it up this year has been Jacob Collicott, who has now made 5 starts this season. He'll make his 6th today. But this is a player that only started in one game last year for the Cougars. He dropped 13 points in that one start, and now we've seen him in the starting rotation consistently. He's really earned that spot, according to Coach Kohler. 16 points for Collicott, and on top of that, too, he's nearly doubled his minutes from last season. Talking about the offseason growth and already early season performance from Collicott, he's really stepped up, and he's really taken on that veteran leadership that we've seen a lot of young guys so far under the Coach Kohler era have to do, and it's really proved well, and Collicott's a great example.
I had a chance to talk to Coach Kohler about Collicott a couple weeks ago, and he said basically the same thing you did, Carter. Collicott, we kind of saw a sneak peek of what he could do last year. Fortunately got injured towards the end of the season, so he missed the playoff run. Now he's been given that starting lineup role, and he's absolutely flourished in it. He's one of the leading scorers on this team, only trails Jordan Matthews in points per game, and he's just such a dynamic scorer, too. He can do it from basically anywhere on the court. He's not a three-point specialist. He's not, just a guy at the rim. You can take him anywhere, and he's still going to find a way to put that ball in the basket.
Now, the one thing Coach Kohler said before this game is that this is an IIT team you can't mess with, and the big reason why is the starters. The Scarlet Hawks lost by 2 in their last match against Aurora University, 78-76. But we thought 3 starters scored 20 points or more. Caden Gigstass, Otis Reale, and then Miloš Dugalić. Those are going to be the big names to watch out for, especially with Dugalić, who put up 13 rebounds, another double-double for the big man. This is an IIT team that has a lot of veteran leadership, but they are very short when it comes to the bench.
That's kind of where the Cougars have a big advantage today. That bench only played a total of 18 minutes for the Scarlet Hawks last game. No other player scored in double digit other than those 3 we mentioned. So this is a very up-front heavy team. They rely on those 3 starters. Those other 2 starters do a good job too in their roles. But then once you get in that bench, that's when things get a little shaky for the Scarlet Hawks. And this is a Cougars team who really thrives in the bench game. William Bishop Green played more minutes than all of their bench combined did last game than the Scarlet Hawks bench. So this is a Cougars team who's deep. They have those explosive players who can come off the bench. That's going to be a big advantage against a pretty short-handed Scarlet Hawks team.
Well, 4.5 minutes till tip-off here inside a Geisman Gymnasium. We're going to wrap up the pregame show with some keys to the game. Peter, what's one key that you see that the Cougars need to accomplish today in order to pull out another conference victory and go 6-0 and get their first win against the Scarlet Hawks since 2019?
Well, turnovers is the bread and butter of this Cougars team. They lead the NAC in steals per game. A little over 13 is that mark, 13.6 to be exact. But this is a team who loves stealing that ball and then going in transition. They have those athletes like Jacob Collicott, like Justin Justin Greenlee, who can really push tempo. They're fast. They got good feet. They can move the ball anywhere over the court. So they get those steals. They get those turnovers. They're heading the other way very fast. It's hard for teams to slow that down.
Well, the Cougars are trying to improve upon their already historic start. They're 3-6 all-time against IIT. And if you remember last season, the Cougars were on the road, lost 71-53, a trap game, if you want to call it, for the Cougars after they clinched a NAC playoff spot. They would later go on to win the regular season title. But there's one thing about this Cougars team is they don't forget who's done them wrong last season, and IIT is going to be one of those teams that the Cougars have had this game circled on their schedule for quite some time. The Scarlet Hawks and the Cougars are about ready to tip off inside a Geisman Gymnasium. 4 p.m. tip-off for another NAC conference matchup. Now we're going to step aside for a quick word from President Russell Dawn.
Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Good card holder.
One more time. First for the visiting Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks, Caden Gigstad, Otis Reale, Emmanuel Adams, Miloš Dugalic, and Garrison Carter. For the Cougars, Justin Greenlee, Brent Hatton, Jordan Matthews, Jacob Collicott, and Emmanuel Wilson. The Cougars are coached by Steve Kohler, and the Scarlet Hawks are coached by Terrence Gray. Two teams that go back in time. It dates back to the 80s when these first teams started playing. And again, for the Cougars, this is a redemption game. Last year, after picking up a big win to clinch a playoff berth in the conference tournament, they lost 71-53 on the road. The highest score of that game for the Cougars Peters were Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews has been spectacular since joining the Cougars back in 2020-2021 season, and he's only missed one game, and that was, we're talking 42 of 43 games Jordan Matthews has started in his career for the Maroon and Gold.
Matthews is really the heart and soul of this team. Maybe he's not always the highest scoring player, the highest rebounding, highest assists, whatever it may be, but he's always there. Like you said, 42 of 43 games. He's always on the court. He's always giving his best, and he's just such a well-rounded player. He can do a little bit of everything. He's so much a key part of this team. He really is the Cougar star.
Dugalic and Hatton at center court for opening tip. Cougars win. William West, Reed Burrell, and Jim Ermitter are the referees for today. Cougars trying to get off to a hot start. They do that a lot, and that's when we start seeing this Cougars team get comfortable early. Brett Hatton looks good in the paint, misses the shot that was contested by Adams. Collicott gets the rebound in the corner. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Pump fake by Matthews, left block. Wing around the Rosie and lays it off the backboard. First bucket of the game goes to the Cougars, Jordan Matthews.
You could tell that play was specifically made for Matthews. All four other Cougars on the court cleared to the weak side of the court. They let Matthews have that one-on-one. He took full advantage of that ISO situation.
And with that game plan the Cougars had against Edgewood College, it was Brent Hatton who had a lot of ISO plays. He was going up against a big-time post player in Eric Schreckenthaler. As the Cougars go the other way, Jordan Matthews could be that player today that they try to isolate. Hatton a three. Misses left. Collicott on the ground has it. Now as a player dive over him, it's a scuffle on the court. Jordan Matthews is tied up along with Dugalic. It's a jump ball, and possession favors the Scarlet Hawks.
Well, we're talking about isolation players on the Cougars. The great thing about the Cougars is that could really be any of them. All these players are super athletic, super sure-footed, right? None of them are, those kind of lumbering big men you typically think of. These are all very athletic players who can take those ISO situations, make the most of them.
Full court pressure applied by Jordan Matthews on the senior Otis Reale, who had 24 points in the last game against the Spartans of Aurora University. Looking for some help, gives it up to Gigstad. Right block, fadeaway, Reale. First bucket for the Scarlet Hawks.
And that was really a good find by Gigstad. Kind of almost like a QB thrown to a receiver. He put that thing right where Reale was running. Reale's able to get that fadeaway shot.
Wilson goes inside for Hatton. Backdoor cut by Greenlee. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Step back, Matthews. Rims in and out. Gigstad pulls down the rebound, going the other way. Inside, taking it coast to coast, Caden Gigstad. Cougars try to answer with a three from Collicott. Hits back iron. Offensive board by Collicott. Follows his shot. Misses with the left hand. Dugalic pulled down the rebound.
I kind of find it hard to believe if all these three-pointers are really part of the Cougars' plan so far this year. They're attempting 23 a game. It's not a big part of their game, yet they're going to it right now. We see Collicott took that three without really any movement. Matthews posted up from that three before that shot. So they're really going to the three ball, which isn't always their game.
Dugalic fouls Greenlee in transition, or should I say Emmanuel Wilson. First foul on the big man from Des Plaines, Illinois. Inbound pass to Jacob Collicott. We've talked about Collicott being a sophomore that has shined so far in the pregame show. Only started in 1 of 14 games last year for Coach Kohler's squad. And Jordan Matthews takes it inside with ease. Paint was vacated, and the veteran was able to capitalize on a defensive miscue by the Scarlet Hawks. Following his own shot is Caden Gigstad inside. Dugalic spinning around, loses it. Ball is still loose. Picking it up is Adams, and he goes up. Garrison Carter. And that forces a timeout called by Coach Steve Kohler. Scarlet Hawks up 8-4, 16:55 remaining in the first quarter. 30-second timeout will step away. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Sports Network. Coach Kohler taking a 30-second timeout, 6-4 ball game, and that timeout called slow down the Cougars. And we have a stoppage on the play before play resumes.
Well, that's a really smart timeout by Coach Kohler. You know, this is a Scarlet Hawks team you can tell is really hungry for an upset against the #1 ranked Cougars right now. So they have a bit of a run going up 6-4. Coach Kohler calling that timeout. It's calming his team down, making sure they don't get a little too trigger happy from three.
Three-pointer from Wilson. Cougars struggling early from deep, have not been able to hit a three-pointer. Now 0 for 4 from behind the three-point line. Losing it is Carter. Greenlee going the other way, gives it up for Wilson. Bishop Green, the alley-oop missed. Rolls off back iron.
Cougars just look a little shaken right now. They're missing these plays that they're hitting every other game. I think Scarhawks, they definitely came here to play today in Geisman, and Cougars need to respond well to that, just calm things down, play their brand of basketball.
Gigstad looking for contact on the contested shot. Corner three, Wilson. That one misses. Now 0 for 5 for the Cougars. Dugalich the other way, now has it back in the corner, gets tripped up going baseline by William Bishop Green. The junior from Kenwood Academy has appeared in all the games this season for the Cougars, and it's been a nice year so far for the junior. Leads the Cougars with a 63% field goal percentage, but also, too, he's their best three-point shooter, hitting 5 of 9.
Well, he's also their best bench player, too. He's usually the sixth man coming off first onto the court. You know, he's played in all 5 games, hasn't started yet, but he didn't play last season. We weren't able to see him on the court at all this year. He's taken on that six-man role with a lot of pride, and he's doing a great job providing that scoring spark off the bench.
Derek Faulkner and Furkan Muhammad are in for the Scarlet Hawks. Looking for some help was Riale. A three-pointer misses out of the hand of Muhammad. Another fresh 20 on the shot clock, taking it inside. Tough layup for Dugalich, and now goes out of bounds. Cougar ball.
Scarlet Hawk game plan so far appears to be just get to the rim. They have a lot of smaller, shifty players. You know, Gigstad 6'1", Reale's only 5'10", so these guys are cutting to the rim. Really good feet under them, really good speed. They're trying to beat these bigger Cougars they're facing up against. But Scarlet Hawks also have some height on their side, too. You know, Adams is 6'5", Dugalich is 6'9", so this is a well-rounded team in terms of size. They have those small cutters, but also those big rebounders.
Bishop Green inside. One-handed hook shot misses. Cougar sub in Elijah White as well as Kieran Heller. And now a block is called. Brent Hatton slammed to the court. Milos Dugalich, the 6'9 senior, barreling his way inside. Draws the block from Brent Hatton, his first foul, team's second. Inbounder for the Scarlet Hawks is Riale. Flips it up to Zach Davis, the sophomore from Naperville, Illinois. Top of the key, 3 for Riale. That misses. Ball still around. The Scarlet Hawks have been dominating the offensive glass so far. 3 offensive rebounds for IIT. Going the other way now is the Cougars. William Bishop Green gives it up for Hatton. Cougars 0 for 4 in their last 4 field goal attempts. Kiernan 3 misses. A rebound for the Scarlet Hawks. It's a slow start for the Cougars. They have not scored in over 2.5 minutes. Trying to find a way to get back on the board.
Well, something Scarlet Hawks are doing really well is they're getting back in transition quick. I talked in the pregame about how much this Cougars team loves scoring in the transition game. Scarlet Hawks are getting those bodies in the hole quick, getting them in the paint. That's forcing the Cougars to play some half-court offense, which is not as strong as their transition offense.
Wide open look for Muhammad for 3 misses. Hatton gets the rebound. He takes it himself. Now Elijah White fires up a 3. That misses. Elijah White, only his 7th three-point attempt of the season, goes down as another miss. Cougars now 0 for 6 from deep.
We know this Cougars team likes to play up-tempo, but they're going to benefit from just slowing things down now. They're usually taking it down court, and they're just firing up threes at this point. Take it down. If you're going to play half-court offense, at least take some time off the clock. Force the IIT defense to really work. See if you could find a slip-up somewhere. Don't just go down. Chuck up a 3 in the first couple seconds of the shot clock.
Foul called on Kieran Heller. That's his first, team's 3rd. Jacob Collicott comes in for Jordan Matthews, and 3 subs in for IIT. Garrison Carter comes in, as well as Owen Walsh, and returning is Caden Gigstad. Again, not a lot of time on the bench for the starters for the Scarlet Hawks. This is a very dependent starting team in the Scarlet Hawks. They rely on their starters and their playmakers from the start to the end.
Well, that'll be interesting to see as the game goes on. As those starters going to get tired, and then that's when the Cougars' stronger bench really comes to play. But right now, here in the start of the game, we are seeing that benefit of having such a talented starting lineup. See how it goes as the clock ticks on.
Garrison Carter hit the 3 at the other end. Brent Hatton pump fakes, drives inside, dishes it out. Heller gives it up to White, trying to go baseline, and now an offensive foul is called. Elijah White trying to wrap his way around Zach Davis on the baseline. Will get called for a foul.
A little bit of a high elbow there from the freshman White. He's been getting a decent chunk of playing time. He's appeared in 4 games heading into today, averaging just over 9 points a game. So number 34 in White getting his opportunities as a freshman, but I do like the game plan we saw there from the Cougars. Obviously, it ended with the offensive foul, but we saw their bigger bodies like Hatton, like White, driving to the paint more and then trying to dish it out, trying to draw in that defense and find an open guy out on the perimeter.
Scarlet Hawks so far have struggled too. Hasn't been a high-scoring affair at all. Now the Cougars have it in transition. Jordan Matthews trying to use the left hand, contested by Caden Gigstad. And again, you mentioned the Scarlet Hawks getting back in transition, really limiting the fast break opportunities for the Cougars, which they've capitalized on because of the amount of steals and forced turnovers they have in games.
And as strong as Matthews' ISO game is, I wish he would have passed that off. That was a big odd man situation. Matthews decided to take it all the way himself. Maybe he passes that off to somebody. They get an open look at the basket. But good defense by the Scarlet Hawks, like you said, Carter.
Collicott baseline, dishes it out left wing, open look, Justin Greenlee. And again, the back iron has just denied the Cougars from deep.
And that was a great look, too. Baseline drive from Collicott, dished it up top to Matthews. Matthews, that one more pass, caught the IIT rotation, sleeping a little bit. An open 3, just couldn't fall for the Cougars.
Jump ball called. Kieran Heller able to get on the ground, and now the Scarlet Hawks will go back on defense. Cougars have not scored in the last 5 minutes. Score is 9-4 in favor of Illinois Tech.
Well, we talked about the Scarlet Hawks defense doing a really good job. Cougars defense keeping them in the game, too, even though they haven't scored in a while, only down by 5.
Collicott from the corner, that misses. The Cougars keep trying to hit the three-pointer, but have failed to do so. Now lose a man in transition. Adams can't get it from the block.
Great job there by Emmanuel Wilson, just getting in the paint, being a body, throwing off the Scarlet Hawks.
Jordan Matthews tries to take it himself and takes one too many steps. Right now the Cougars look out of sorts. Another turnover for CUC. That is their 3rd of the ball game. And now a change here. We're going to see the sophomore Barkus Jackson Jr. come in. He's only appeared in 3 games this season, averaging just over 5 minutes, but he's the kind of guy we've seen in JV games. Coach Kohler talks about a lot. He's a great change of pace player, as I should say. And right now, Coach Kohler just trying to find something to slow down IIT, and they've gone to the 1-3-1.
Well, I was just going to mention Jackson Jr. has been getting a ton of opportunities in the JV games so far this year, and he's one of those kind of on-the-cusp players, between JV and the varsity squad, if you want to call it that. He's hungry. He's looking for his chance. Coach Kohler sees if he can bring a little bit of energy to this game.
Collicott turns it over on a pass intended for Matthews. Only points so far for the Cougars have come from Matthews, and those were 2 drives inside. The Cougars have not been able to get anything going from deep. Long ball from Carter. Bricked out, goes into the hands of Justin Greenlee, goes to the left side trying to find someone to help. Wilson, can he break the curse? No, he can't. Rebound by Gigstad.
Well, Cougars 0 for 9 from 3 now, but luckily for them, Scarlet Hawks are 1 for 7. They're not shooting much better. Maybe they'll get one here, though.
Gigstad, his 3-pointer misses. The 2 teams combined are 1 for 17 from 3-point land. Collicott fires up another one that is off the mark.
Cougars got to go to a different game plan. The 3 ball just isn't falling. And, sometimes it doesn't fall. Sometimes you just aren't able to hit those shots, but you got to make adjustments. Say, all right, the perimeter game, the 3-point game isn't working right now. We got to start getting to the rim more, get those mid-range shots, get those finishes at the rim rather than relying on the 3-point ball, which just is not happening right now.
Collicott called for the foul. That is the team's 5th. Coach Kohler takes another timeout. 10-18 remaining. Scarlet Hawks up 9-4. The Cougars have not scored in nearly 7 minutes. Looking to go to the whiteboard and draw something up. Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics and men's basketball. Click sports and men's basketball in the drop-down menu to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more at CUCougars.com. It has been the shooting woes of the Cougars that have seen them be put behind by 5 points right now. And both these teams have really struggled from deep. But you mentioned it before, the Cougars have not been able to fire up a 3-pointer that has gone in. And again, 0 for 10 from deep. We talked about it on the pregame show, second to last in the conference in 3-point shooting. But again, I think it's that transition defense right now from the Scarlet Hawks that you've mentioned they've been doing such a good job of. There's no opportunities for the Cougars to drive inside, and they're forced to take open threes, and they haven't been able to fall.
Well, the Scarlet Hawks know what they're doing. You just hit the nail on the head there, Carter. The Cougars are not hitting these threes right now, so Scarlet Hawks know they can pack the paint, stop drives to the rim, let the Cougars take those threes because they're just not hitting them right now. It's one of those defensive strategies of we're just going to let you guys take as many shots as you want because you aren't getting anything to fall.
Strong drive inside by Otis Reale. Reale now with 4 points. It ends a scoring drought for the Scarlet Hawks of over 3 minutes, and compared to the Cougars, doesn't look like much. And a block from behind by Reale. Second on the team in points per game with just under 18, but he leads the team in shooting percentage, 50% from the field and from deep, 45%. He's on 0 for 1 so far in this game as the Cougars inbound it with 16 seconds on the shot clock. Jordan Matthews directing the offense. Pump fake by Bishop Green inside, trying to use the right hand. That misses. Scarlet Hawks in transition led by Reale. Cougars need a stop here, trying to force a big-time defensive play is what they could use. A deep 3 from Reale, and that hits off the hand of newcomer into the game, Bhuvanish Rajagopal. Coming in for the first time for the Cougars is the freshman Jackson Holzheimer.
The Cougars putting another big height player into the game. I think maybe this is a sign, let's go to the rim a little bit more, use some of that height to their advantage, because again, anything from really mid-range out is not falling. But they got to get some more cuts. They got to get some more open looks at the rim rather than just giving the ball to one player and say, all right, go at it, because the ISO plays aren't working right now either.
Patrick Blanchard in for the Scarlet Hawks as well. Manuel Wilson, one-on-one, inside, needs some help. Jordan Matthews with 6 seconds on the shot clock. Going ISO on Dugalich. Steps inside, hits the rim, offensive board by Greenlee. That one doesn't go. Third time's not the charm, and a rebound pulled down by Blanchard.
That's just an unfortunate bounce for Greenlee, too. Looks at the rim right in the paint. Not able to get either of them to fall. Those are the shots you got to make.
Garrison Carter with the basket on the other end. Cougars can't buy a basket right now. Down 13-4. 8:25 remaining in the first half. Jordan Matthews, he's fouled on the way up. Foul called on Patrick Blanchard. Blanchard picks up his first personal foul, only the second called against the Scarlet Hawks. But now some free throws for the senior. Jordan Matthews gives the Cougars a nice break. Everybody catches their breath. Jordan Matthews, 77% from the charity stripe this season.
I know they're free throws, but hopefully at least just putting the ball through the basket a couple times here. Well, he did it at least once. Let's hope he can hit the other one now. Maybe this will get him a little bit of confidence. You know, hey, all right, we haven't scored in quite a while up until this point. That was an 8-minute and 52-second scoring drought. Let's use these free throws. Know that, yeah, we can't put the ball in. Let's get some momentum out of this.
Jordan Matthews, first team all-conference last season. Year before that was first team all-NAC South Division. Goes 2 for 2 from the free throw line, breaks a scoreless drought for the Cougars. Now trail by 7. Hatton on Dugalich. Picks up his dribble over to the corner for Faulkner, and a travel called on Faulkner. 5th turnover by the Scarlet Hawks. For the Cougars, Coach Kohler talked about it after their game against Edgewood College. This is a team that's very hungry. In fact, this is a team that didn't even celebrate a road victory against a conference opponent against the Eagles earlier this week, because this team understands the expectations that Kohler has set for them, and also those that have set for themselves, and they're trying to get back to the basketball we've seen so far this season. Only 6 points on the scoreboard.
I think one of my favorite quotes from Kohler in that Coach's Weekly, we'll get back to that point in a second here.
Wilson, spin around, late jumper, back iron, can't fall. Hatton right under the rim. He can't go. Puts it back up again. It's a fight for the ball. Jordan Matthews. The Cougars haven't been able to get a field goal in a while. Hatton looking inside, wide open. Wilson near the top. That misses right of the rim. Cougars now 0 for 11 from deep. Transition. Dugalich misses. Ball hits off of the leg of Emmanuel Wilson.
Well, I was saying, going back to that interview, something Kohler said is, yes, they did win that game against Edgewood, but that was a really ugly win. They let the Eagles way back into the game. That 50-36 second half we talked about. Now he talked about how these guys, this group of guys, are really good. They're really good at watching the film, realizing, all right, yeah, we won, but we made a lot of mistakes. This is what we need to clean up in order to get better the next game so we don't have those close games. And right now they got to make some really big-time in-game adjustments because they just have nothing offensively against the IIT's defense.
Scarlet Hawks took a 30-second timeout, and that means Cougar fans, it gives you time to subscribe to the CU Sports YouTube channel, where you can get all the content, interviews, and broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. You can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports. Click the join button to become a member. If you don't want to become a member at this time, you can donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department to continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thank button. 23 seconds on the shot clock, nearing 7 minutes to play in the first half. 13-6 the score inside a Geisman Gymnasium. The Scarlet Hawks have just been able to edge out the Cougars so far. In a low-scoring affair, another conference matchup for the Cougars. Ball goes off of Brent Hatton, now 6 seconds on the shot clock.
IIT's doing a lot of things from the baseline, a lot of baseline drives to passes out to the corner. I think the Cougars are picking up on that. That's why IIT's been having a hard time scoring a basket as of recently as well.
Too strong from Dugalich. Cougars go the other way. Bishop Green, the sixth man for the Cougars, has played a lot of minutes so far in this game. Fires up a three from the corner, and that's too strong. Ball goes off of Collicott's hand, and you don't have to check the stats of the season to say that the Cougars are on their worst shooting stretch from deep in the early goings of a game that is now extended well within the deeper minutes of the first half. 0 for 12 from three-point land. The Scarlet Hawks answer with a three of their own from Zach Davis.
Well, this is what the Cougars have to be kind of thankful of right now, is the Scarlet Hawks only 2 for 10 from three after that last make. Things could be a lot worse if they were shooting better too.
Jordan Matthews trying to end the drought. He can't. Collicott tried to go over the back of Gigstad. Gigstad got the last touch on it. And again, it seems like every possession the Cougars are trying to fire up a three, but it's not going in. They've tried multiple different lineup combinations. We've seen a plethora of Cougars play so far, just nobody's been able to get the hot hand going. Jordan Matthews, the only Cougar with points so far in this game with 6. They go inside to Matthews. Scarlet Hawks playing close defense in the paint. Matthews used the left hand. Too strong. Going the other way is Gigstad. Dugalich has yet to score in this game. Pump fake from Reale. Dishes it opposite side for Dugalich. A three from the big man. That hits the top rope. Elijah White checks back in for the Cougars. 5:20 remaining in the first half. Scarlet Hawks up 16-6. Emmanuel Adams checks in for the Scarlet Hawks as well. Last time the Cougars beat the Scarlet Hawks was January 12th of 2019. That was back in the first season of coaching CUC for Coach Kohler, 61-57. Over to the corner for Bishop Green. Nice drive, too strong, fade away with the right hand. Good defense inside. Collicott touches it with the left hand, and right now we're just seeing the Scarlet Hawks again. They're not even worried about the deep shot. The Scarlet Hawks right now are just worried about the paint, and for the Cougars, they haven't been able to get anything going inside either. The Cougars only have 4 points in the paint.
Well, and the Scarlet Hawks are doing a great job of collapsing in the paint. Usually when a Cougar drives in there, we're seeing 2, 3 Scarlet Hawks collapse in on them, which is making those layups incredibly hard to do. These are some acrobatic shots the Cougars are putting up, and as you would expect, they're not able to hit most of them.
Garrison Carter with a three in the corner. Elijah White, pump fake, baseline drive, sends it up to Matthews. He goes inside, tried to go underhand, left hand, and he gets fouled on the way up. So Matthews gets fouled by Emmanuel Adams. And the one thing about Jordan Matthews, in the 3 years he's played for the Cougars, although he's 6'1", 180, he is not afraid to go inside. That's how you get 17 points a game. Back to the free throw line for a pair of free throws.
Matthews is just one of those all-around great scorers, 44% from the field, 36 from beyond the arc so far this year. You already mentioned 77 from the free throw line coming into tonight. He can really score anywhere on the court. He's fast, he's agile, he's a good shooter. There's really no concrete game plan to stopping Jordan Matthews, and he's going to really have to get it going right now until the rest of the team kind of picks up the slack to keep the Cougars at least in striking range of the Scarlet Hawks.
down by 11 after 2 made free throws. And Jordan Matthews leads the Cougars in scoring with 8. Dugalich going all the way in, and an offensive foul is called. The IIT bench is not happy with that call at all. Dugalich went all the way and drew some contact, but used the left arm to push off to get that free pass inside. Jacob Collicott, Emmanuel Wilson.
Well, if you're the Cougars, this is what you got to take advantage of. Mistakes like that from the Scarlet Hawks, you got to score on these chances now. You get a free turnover, time to go down, put something in the basket, pick up a couple points.
Zach Davis in for the Scarlet Hawks. And right now, the Cougars haven't even inbounded the ball, and you could see Illinois Tech is already lined up in the 2-3 zone.
That's when teams run into trouble against the Cougars, is when they do full court presses. The Cougars are just too athletic. They're going to beat you. You just got to send everyone down, force the Cougars to play some good half-court offense.
Collicott goes up, and finally a field goal. It took a long time, almost 13 minutes for the Cougars to get a field goal.
Of their last 23. A little sigh of relief from the Cougars bench on that one.
And now they're excited again. William Bishop Green draws a charge.
Well, this is
Garrison Carter lowering the shoulder.
Well, I talked about you got to take advantage of mistakes a second ago. Now you got to take advantage of the momentum. You finally get your first field goal in 23 attempts. Now you get a big offensive foul at the other end of the court. Now's the time to make up some room, pick up some ground. You know, even if you're not leading going into the locker room at halftime, at least be within a couple possessions.
Furkan Muhammad in for the Scarlet Hawks. 3:44 remaining in the first half. Cougars down by 9. They still have not hit a three-pointer, but Jacob Collicott in the last possession for CUC making the first field goal in almost 13 minutes. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Matthews, a long 2. Tried to bank it in. Collicott fighting. The leading rebounder for the Cougars has been getting offensive board after offensive board, and he draws a block on the baseline.
Great individual effort there from Collicott. That was a tough rebound to corral. He's able to do it and then draws the defensive foul, the block, trying to get that acrobatic pass to his teammate Elijah White. So good job by Collicott.
Zach Davis called for the foul, and he's a little gimpy getting up after. He's replaced by Emmanuel Adams. Justin Greenlee in the corner. Elijah White all alone inside using the right hand. And one from the freshman. You could tell the fans were waiting for a big play from the Cougars. And it came from the freshman, number 34, Elijah White.
Well, Cougars finally picking up a little momentum here. 6-0 run over the last minute 19 of game time. You know, we've had some big plays. Collicott's field goal that broke the scoreless streak. You had the offensive foul from the Scarlet Hawks, and now Elijah White picks up the and one.
Foul called on Furkan Muhammad, and a little gift from the rim. Elijah White able to complete the three-point play. CUC now down by 6, full court. Collicott gets a steal. Baseline drive, right hand off balance. And again, another gift from the rim. And just like that, the Cougars are back within 4. A nice little 7-0 run over the last minute and 20 seconds for CUC. Scarlet Hawks call a timeout. Now they have their backs against the wall with momentum.
Collicott, I think Coach Kohler called him a game wrecker in one of our interviews, and we see that right there. We saw that tenacious rebound he went after, eventually drew the blocking foul. Then we saw right there he's able to get that backdoor steal when Scarhawks really weren't expecting it come down. He gets that hard shot to fall. So Collicott taking the team on his back right now when they need it most, able to pull them back within 2 possessions.
And I think this is one part of the game where we start to see the Cougars resemble what we saw in the end of Edgewood. And, you know, Edgewood up by 4 in those last 4 minutes of that game. the Cougars were still making shots. They were still playing their game. And over the last 4 minutes here, and it started with that Collicott floater in the paint, gave a little bit of momentum for CUC defensively. They force a turnover. We get the Bishop Green charge, and then Elijah White with the three-point play, the steal, another basket for the Cougars. We're starting to see CUC get back to what they're comfortable with, and that is applying pressure and capitalizing in the transition.
And that's what's been missing up to this point. All those three-pointers they were taking, which they were missing, that's not the Cougars' game. I was kind of wondering what they were, what the game plan was there, because that's just not who this team is. Now, after, Coach Kohler had a couple of timeouts called, he seems to finally settle the team down. They're now playing their brand of basketball, and what do you know? Now they're within 4 points of a Scarlet Hawks team who has been kind of running things defensively up until now.
Full court pressure from the Cougars. Inbound pass is given to Emmanuel Adams. Stops on a dime, no travel called. Cougars bench, and everybody in Geisman wanted one. Collicott playing hard defense on Reale, a floater. Misses, rebound by White. Elijah White getting his first board of the game. Wilson in transition, floater from the block, and a block is called on number 23, Furkan Muhammad. Muhammad now picks up his second foul, and for the remainder of the first half, the Cougars will be in the bonus.
And we see how things have changed here for the Cougars. They're coming from, coming down, and taking a three-pointer within the first couple seconds. Now they're coming down, immediately charging the rim. They're drawing a couple more blocking fouls. That's helping them out a lot.
Wilson misses the first free throw. Started all 5 games coming into today. It was his 45th game with the Cougars as Derek Faulkner comes in to replace Emmanuel Adams. 72% career free throw shooter. Coming off of a season low 6 points in the last game against Edgewood. So far has no points, 0 for 5 from the field, and now is 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Closes out on Gigstad, a drive inside, switch up by Gigstad. He hits the court hard. Again, no foul. Referees letting the boys play this evening.
Been a pretty physical contest so far. We're seeing some more blocks called as of recently, but like you said, Carter, on the whole, refs letting these guys play.
Elijah White, Collicott, left wing, misses. A rebound by Garrison Carter. Under 2 minutes to play. Both these teams started off slow. Now the energy has picked up. A missed three in the corner by Gigstad. Matthews going the other way. Collicott slicing, dicing, throws it over his shoulder. And it goes out of bounds. Did not touch a Scarlet Hawk. It will be a turnover for Collicott. Brent Hatton comes in to replace Elijah White. Elijah White only averaging 9 minutes a game. Takes a well-deserved break. Started to see his minutes picked up here in the first half. Might see him play more in the second half with the performance he is having. A drive by Faulkner. Rotation from the Scarlet Hawks gets it all the way to Reale, who's dribbling around the baseline, guarded by Hatton.
Good rotation by the Cougars, too, to keep up with the ball.
Pushing off. As Reale goes to the ground, a foul will be called on Brent Hatton. The Geisman faithful raining down with boos. Contact both ways there. Hatton picks up his second personal foul, team's sixth. And just like that, as we mentioned, he just came off. Elijah White puts down the Gatorade bottle, and he comes in for Brent Hatton.
White's doing some really nice work down in the paint. This isn't a Cougars team that really relies on size, so having a bigger body down there like White, right now it's really benefiting them against a Scarlet Hawks team who's out rebounding them.
Scarlet Hawks on a scoreless drought of 3.5 minutes. Over the shoulder, wild shot from Gigstad. That was a prayer of a shot inside. Jordan Matthews gets tripped up. Manuel Wilson has it. Reversal over from Greenlee to Collicott using the right hand.
Great drive there by Collicott.
One possession game in the final minute of play of the first half.
Collicott's just so explosive, so athletic.
Now a travel called on Derek Faulkner. Another turnover for the Scarlet Hawks. That's their 9th.
Now we're starting to see, I think the Scarlet Hawks look a little flustered. The Cougars putting on a big run as of late. Now they're slipping up a bit more. We're seeing more fouls called their way. We're seeing more turnovers like that.
23 seconds separating shot clock and game clock. Greenlee goes all the way, head of steam, and is rewarded. Justin Greenlee, his first points of the evening. The Cougars come back and tie the game. Just over a 2-second differential, shot clock and game clock. A missed shot inside by Carter, and now the Cougars can walk it down for the last shot of the half.
Cougars nice position here. They get what they want. You know, they've tied things up. They're at least going to go into half with that. Now they can wind the clock down, get the last shot they want.
Cougars have not led since the opening basket by Jordan Matthews of this game. Greenlee takes himself, fadeaway, misses, and the rebound by Furkan Muhammad will end the first half. 38 points scored for these two teams, tied at 19. Both teams have a lot to do in the second half, and it starts in the locker room with adjustments. Peter and I will have a first half breakdown when we return for second half basketball after a break. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. quite some time. They only have led for 1 minute in this game, and it was Jordan Matthews in the beginning who got the first basket for CUC, and the struggles is apparent. Three-pointers are irrelevant right now for the Cougars. They are 0 for 15, the worst shooting percentage so far this season in a game from behind the three-point arc. The Cougars were 12%, 3 for 24 against Carroll University. They were able to win that game, but right now in a tied ball game, they've been chucking up shots, and the rim has not been rewarding them at all.
No, and it's not even that they're taking hard shots. They're missing open threes as well. And, everyone has those days where you just aren't able to hit the three ball, so it's all just kind of snowballed into this 0-15 start from the Cougars. I'm sure we're going to see more from them in the second half, some more attempts at least, but they've done a good job of changing the game plan up, getting away from the three ball, especially at the end of that first half.
And the one thing that both of these teams right now share in the box score at half, 16 points for each team have been from the starters. And we look at the bench points, Elijah White, for CUC with 3 points. Zachary Davis for Illinois Tech with 3 points. It is a very, very starter-friendly game right now. Both of these teams have had to reach deep to their veterans to get some big points. Garrison Carter right now with 10 points leads the Scarlet Hawks in the box score, and he hasn't had a double-digit game since November 20th, when they played Carroll University, where he dropped 22 points.
Right, and we really haven't seen any of that big trio we mentioned in the pregame for the Scarlet Hawks get a hot hand. So Cougars, for all their offensive struggles, their defense has been standing tall, keeping them in this game. That's why we got a tight ball game right now, Carter.
We look at the second half here, and hopefully we don't see the same results from either team like we did in the first half. And there was that stretch for the Cougars where they didn't score a field goal for 13 minutes, and it seemed like the Cougars couldn't buy a basket. Even with coupons, they couldn't. And right now for the Cougars, they were able to get that little bit of stretch towards the end, tie the game up. They head into the locker room 19-19. What do the Cougars have to do to pull away here in the second half?
Well, like you said, they kind of found that secret formula at the end of the first half. They started playing their brand of basketball. There was pressure all over the court. Defensively, they were full court press. We saw a really nice backdoor steal from Jacob Collicott that kind of shifted the momentum CUC's way, and then they are charging after the rim. They are not, these are not easy layups they're making. These are not easy drives to the rim. They are going right at the Scarlet Hawks, and again, this is a very starter-heavy Scarlet Hawks team. They're going to run out of defensive energy. That's why the Cougars are having much more success getting to the rim.
Well, get ready for second half basketball here inside of Geisman Gymnasium. We'll take a quick 15-second timeout and bring you more coverage from inside Geisman Gymnasium. Inbound to start the second half. Cougars have all of their starters on the court. The Scarlet Hawks do as well. Both these teams combined from deep, 3 of 28. Reale flips it inside for Carter. He loses it. Terrence Gray is besides himself on the IIT bench. Wanted a block called, or a foul, I should say, but a block from the Cougars defense. And again, the Cougars are going to have to tighten up that inside defense. They got to get their first offensive possession of the second half, and a foul is called. Milos Dugalic picks up the foul. That is his third personal foul.
The IIT not happy with that call at all. Almost looked like Matthews just slipped up at first, but instead they're calling a trip.
And now we have an official heading over to the Scarlet Hawks bench. Have a conversation. Alak Iyar, one of the assistant coaches for the Scarlet Hawks, threw his clipboard during the break. Brent Hatton, wide open three, misses. Jordan Matthews inside. He can't get that to fall through. Offensive Will offense miss from Wilson. Trying to get the rebound, gets pulled away by Riale. On the ground, Riale tosses it towards the dance team on the baseline. Justin Greenlee a little slow to get up after hitting the court. Jacob Collicott in the first half with 6 points. Second to Jordan Matthews, 8 points. We talked about him in the pregame show, the stretch that he's on. He's been a little cold so far today. Look to go baseline, will swing it back up to the top. Brent Hatton now. Jordan Matthews, one-on-one with Adams. Switches off. Hatton going inside. The big man putting in the works, can't get it to go. Second attempt, throws it up and gets fouled on the way. Foul called against Emmanuel Adams. Adams picks up his second personal foul. Already 2 fouls from the Scarlet Hawks in the first minute 19 of play here in the second half.
Well, I got to talk to Coach Kohler this past week about Brett Hatton after his 20-point effort against Edgewood, and Coach Kohler said Hatton's one of those guys, he can do everything. He's a bigger guy, so he can go in that post. He can play, again, around the rim, but he can also do stuff on the perimeter. He's good, quick-footed, so he's able to move a lot quicker than some other bigger players. He's just all around a fantastic basketball player.
The most experienced player for CUC, 55 career games. Goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. The Scarlet Hawks now trail by 1. Again, the Cougars only led for just over a minute and some change in the first half. So it'll be interesting to see what the Cougars can do now with just a 1-point advantage. They're playing lockdown defense. Jacob Collicott was trying to steal it from Riale. The guard misses the shot from the elbow. Brent Hatton trying the long pass to Collicott, and he turns it over.
I like the thought there, get IIT caught up in transition with that football pass, but you got to be a little smarter with that ball. There were 2 bodies in between Hatton and Collicott. You can't throw the ball away like that.
Inside Carter, one-on-one with Hatton, spins right, and a travel is called. Scarlet Hawks with 12 turnovers now, the Cougars only with 6, and I guess that's the one thing that the Cougars have remained consistent in their game plan is forcing turnovers. Opponents have turned the ball over 21 times on the season per game against the Cougars. That's one thing CUC prides themselves with is the defensive side. And now they're on offense. Justin Greenlee takes it all the way himself using the right hand. CUC now leads by 3.
The Cougars have the best turnover margin in the conference with a mark of plus 6.2.
Carter goes the other way to answer. 22-21. White in the paint on Carter. Loses it. Trying to save it was Gigstad, but it'll stay with the Cougars. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Brent Hatton checks back into the game. And I think that was a breather for Hatton, too. We didn't see Elijah White, as I should say, stay out there as much. Maybe a coaching time for Hatton on the bench to talk about that pass and the turnover.
Well, and it's nice having someone like White who's, a similar build to Hatton, a decently tall guy who's got a lot of muscle behind him. That's a nice be able to take Hatton out, coach him up a little, put White in, know he's going to do a good job.
Matthews, spin around, beauty of a move. Jordan Matthews, 10 points in the game for him. He's been the one player that's been able to work consistently inside and create separation between him and the Scarlet Hawks. Carter, airball 3-pointer. Matthews with the rebound going the other way. His 9th rebound on his way to a double-double if he could get one more board. Emmanuel Wilson, a 3. Thank you! Finally! Oh my goodness! It took 17 tries, but the Cougars hit their first 3.
Maybe this will open the floodgates for them. Maybe they found the sriracha sauce somewhere in the locker room.
Scarlet Hawks facing the pressure from CUC defensively. A foul is called. Brent Hatton picks up the foul. That is his third personal, so Elijah White waits at the scorer's table to check back in. William Bishop Green as well. But mark it in the game recap. 16 minutes remaining into the second half. The Cougars finally hit their first three-pointer of the game, 16:30 to be exact. It seems like right now a lot of weight has been lifted from the Cougars getting their first three-pointer.
And I've liked the selection more so far in the second half. I know we're a little less than 4 minutes in, but they're being a lot more choosy with their three-point attempts, as opposed to that first half when they were just going down, throwing it up almost every possession. Now they're going to use it more sparingly, and that's when they're best. That's when their three-point ball is at its best, is when they are waiting for those right times to shoot the ball rather than just going to it as their first option.
Owen Walsh comes in to replace Zach Davis, who goes 2 for 2 from the free throw line. CUC, 4-point lead, 16 minutes remaining in the game. They've already started off better here than in the first half. Jordan Matthews backing down. Jacob Collicott, bunny hop, uses the backboard. William Bishop Green fights for the offensive rebound. Nice move inside, dumps it off for White, goes under with the right hand. Elijah White now with 5 points. Full court press from the Cougars, going the other way. Carter dishes it over to the corner for Muhammad. Drive inside, Reale, wild attempt. Jordan Matthews picks up his 10th rebound, now with a double-double. Spinning around, Wilson. Collicott, White inside, spinning around, mismatch, has it, and he lets Reale know. Elijah White now ties a career high of 7 points.
White's playing extremely well off the bench for the Cougars, and not just in the point department. I mean, he only has 7, which of course, isn't a ton in the grand scheme of things, but for his usual mark, he's doing really well in that category, and he's providing good defense, good rebounding. He's doing a little bit of everything right now as the freshman, making the most of his expanded role today.
Dugalich comes back in, as well as Raja Gopal. Corner 3 from Carter. He misses. So the three-point shooting woes for the Cougars in the first half have translated to the second half for the Scarlet Hawks. William Bishop Green tried to save it, he did, and then it bounced off of a Cougar. Barkus Jackson Jr. as well as Justin Greenlee check into the game for CUC. Scarlet Hawks able to break the pressure. Dugalich, no points so far for the big man. Again, 3 fouls for him. Jackson Jr. loses it and then gets table-topped by Owen Walsh. And the one thing we're seeing from the Cougars right now, and something that they keep track of on their bench, is the selflessness and the sacrifice board. That's something that they reward to a player after every game for the hustle plays, for the extra efforts, the second chance opportunities. And even though that's just one glimpse at what it is, that's something that the Cougars have always consistently done. And we're starting to see that when the Cougars weren't able to score as much in the first half, they've fallen on that gameplay here in the second, and it's actually propelled their offense.
This is just such a hard-working team. They do all the little things really well. It's not always the cleanest, but, they're going after those dirty rebounds that are taking a couple bounces. They're going after plays like that we just saw from Barkus Jackson Jr., and they should be keeping track of stuff. That's what's going to win you ball games, especially close ball games like this where your offense might not be playing as well as they are used to. You got to make those small little hustle plays, those tenacity plays to really pull through.
Raja Gopal called for the foul. He gets replaced by Patrick Blanchard. Inbound pass to William Bishop Green. He's in a scuffle on the court with Dugalich. Possession arrow favors CUC. Brent Hatton inbound. 17 seconds on the shot clock for the Cougars. Jackson Jr. trying to feed it inside. Good defense from Davis inside on Hatton. Bishop Green spinning around. Hatton, corner pocket three. He hits it. Brent Hatton, first field goal of the game for him. He was 0 for 5 before that shot, now has 4 points.
And that's when the Cougars are at their best. We saw everybody collapsing in the paint defensively for the Scarlet Hawks, so they dished the ball out to the corner with Hatton, able to hit that wide open three.
Hatton gets called for the foul after going after a loose ball. So Hatton now picks up his 4th personal foul. So that means we're going to see a lot of Elijah White. And now a warning has been given to the Scarlet Hawks bench by the official. Again, no technical, but the Scarlet Hawks bench has been pushing the limits with these officials here this evening. Now both teams will head to the bench. A full timeout called. Timeout gets called by the Scarlet Hawks. Will step aside for a quick break. Cougars up 34-23, 13-39 remaining in this ball game. Cougars on a 7-0 scoring run over the last 2 minutes. They've been pretty good here in the second half after some bad long ball shooting in the first half. They've hit 2 3-pointers here, and so far CUC has the momentum. They are now out to an 11-point lead over the Scarlet Hawks. And Peter, we're starting to see a different Cougars team, and that halftime break really bode well for CUC.
They're taking way less threes, like you said, Carter. 15 in the first half. They're only at 3 right now through the second. They're being way more selective with their choices.
Justin Greenlee almost came away with the steal, and that's something we haven't been able to talk about so much in this game. Justin Greenlee is 3rd in the Division III rankings for steals per game. He's almost getting 4 steals a game, and it contributes to the Cougars who have almost 14 a game.
Well, Greenlee really started to come out towards the end of last season. So we hear the call from the ref here.
So they're going to do the shot clock adjustment. So what they're saying is that since there was a throwback by Greenlee, now it marked a new possession. So they will give a steal to Justin Greenlee in the stat book. And it'll take 3 seconds off the shot clock after originally was set at 17 seconds on the other end. So 27 seconds on the shot clock for the Scarlet Hawks after all things are said and done. Inbounding for Illinois Tech is Otis Riale. Lobs it up, trying to get Dugalich, and he gets fouled. That was just a quick inbound play. Bishop Green wasn't paying attention, caught the Cougars sleeping. Dugalich will head to the free throw line for some free throws.
Well, Dugalich listed 6'9" on the official roster, so you're able to get that lob pass over everybody, especially if the defense was sleeping a little like they were. You know, of course, if he wasn't fouled, he probably would have been able to put that one in. So see what he can do on the free throw line.
Dugalich is coming off of back-to-back 20-point games, 23 to be exact, against Wisconsin Platteville and Aurora.
So those were double-doubles as well for him.
Goes a perfect 2 for 2. Scarlet Hawks trail by 9. Low scoring affair for both teams. It was 19-19 at the halftime break. CUC has pulled ahead here in the second half because of a couple three-pointers, but also some better play inside, trying to get it into Elijah White. He is working big time on Carter. Loses it, gets it outside to Matthews, 6 seconds. Matthews off dribble, step back 3. Give me the hot sauce. Woo! Oh, baby. Jordan Matthews hits his first three-pointer of the game and makes it look good too.
They said the Cougars found the hot sauce during the halftime break. I think they found Michael's secret stuff in there too.
Rebound by White going the other way. Matthews in transition, loses it and falls down. And now a foul is called. Foul will go against William Bishop Green. Picks up his second personal foul. Jordan Matthews was slow to get up off the court, but it took a little high five from Coach Kohler, and he's back locked in. Leads the team with 13 points in this game. Full court pressure again from CUC. Collicott defending the big man Dugalich. Collicott down. Scarlet Hawks wanted a flop. Collicott goes up, and now a foul is called. Foul is called on Collicott. Picks up his second. Cougars now with 5 team fouls in the second half. It sends Patrick Blanchard to the free throw line. On the season, Blanchard 2 for 2 from the charity stripe coming into today. Misses his first free throw of the season. Only his 4th appearance for the Scarlet Hawks. Averaging just under 6 minutes a game. And again, it's a game dominated by the starters. And the bench has really not been a factor for either team. We're starting to see it a little bit more here in the second half. But it's going to be those additional points that are going to add up for each side. Jacob Collicott tried to take it inside. And now the gym erupts as CUC believes they have the possession. The official on the baseline signals Scarlet Hawks. Now another one will come in and overrides his companion. And what it looked like, Patrick Blanchard had a hand on it and knocked it out of bounds. So now another visit to the scores table to make sure the shot clock is all set and correct. So it is set at 30 seconds as of now. Scarlet Hawks have not hit a field goal in the last 5 minutes and 25 seconds. They'll adjust the shot clock now to 23 seconds. CUC retained possession on the loose ball. Jordan Matthews over to Collicott on the perimeter. Matthews had a 3, good closeout by Gigstad inside now for Elijah White. Looking for help, dumps it over to Greenlee. 6 on the shot clock. Matthews pulls the trigger and hits it.
Wow.
Jordan Matthews. Back-to-back shots from him from deep. Both go in. Matthews now.
That's what I was talking about with Matthews. He can score from just about anywhere on the court. He's lighting it up from 3 right now. There's just no solid way to stop him consistently when he can score from basically anywhere.
And an offensive foul called on Dugalich. William Bishop Green draws his second charge of the game. And now a technical foul has been issued to IIT's Terrence Gray. The head coach of the Scarlet Hawks just picked up a technical.
So their bench has been animated all night, to say the least.
The coaching staff has not been pleased with some of the calls in this physical game. They wanted a flop on Jacob Collicott. And now Terrence Gray is beside himself after the charge called. So Jacob Collicott will head to the free throw line for some free throws after the technical foul issued to the head coach of the Scarlet Hawks.
So this was going to be one of the big tests for the Scarlet Hawks. They're going up against a Cougars team who's first in the NAC right now, and everybody knows that this is an incredibly good team after they won the regular season championship last year. So not only was today going to be about how well can the Scarlet Hawks play on the court, but it's going to be about their mentality too. How are they going to handle all the challenges that this Cougars team presents? And now here in the second half that the Cougars have control, we're seeing the Scarlet Hawks look a little more flustered.
And the other thing, too, to point out, too, that's Dugalich's 4th personal foul. The big man who has only 2 points today, and that's come from the free throw line. Mm-hmm. 1 foul away from being out of this game. And a jump ball is called. Reale was able to get tangled up with Jordan Matthews.
So you saw it on that inbound pass, though, too. Scarlet Hawks just not playing as clean as they were at the beginning of the game.
And now a stoppage of play here. Coach Kohler thinks it's his possession. If I remember correctly, I thought the last jump ball went to CUC.
Well, on the scores table, the light is on IIT side.
Everybody's cool down there on the court. Coach Kohler is okay. Everything's sorted out. And now the players are being told to come to their benches and have a little chat. So last time I remember, there's some confusion right now. The possession arrow at the scores table says that it favors the Scarlet Hawks. Mm-hmm. But on the scoreboard, it says it favors CUC. Mm-hmm. So while all of that's getting sorted out, we will step aside for a quick break. CUC up 42-26, 11-14 remaining in the second half. Possession arrow is all sorted out, so it will be the Scarlet Hawks ball. Inbounding for Illinois Tech is Garrison Carter. 12 points for him, only 2 here in the second half, the leading scorer for the Scarlet Hawks. Reale so far with 4, gets stuffed by Bishop Green.
Welcome to the block party.
Jacob Collicott going the other way, tried to get it inside Bishop Green, and it is hit off of number 3 in white. Coach Kohler saying to his guard, slow it down. That's one of those plays where it's very easy to get excited after the defensive stop, and now it goes to the other side. Loose ball, turnover for CUC. Now they find themselves back on defense. Bishop Green takes it, goes up, and down it goes! Bishop Green slams it down on the steal.
Everything's going CUC's way now. Scarhawks really have to calm down and go on a run here, or else things are really going to get out of hand, and they're already down by 18.
The three-pointer from Davis, too long, rebounded by Carter. He now has it on the baseline. Gigstad, Davis, he hits a 3.
It's a great 3 there from the Scarhawks. Good response to the dunk from Bishop Green. Calms the teams down a little bit, kills some of the CUC momentum.
CUC leading 44-29 after these teams were tied at 19 apiece at the half. Bishop Green Little late to get the alley-oop pass from Justin Greenlee. Gigstad driving right side. Coley gets the swat! Woo-hoo!
The
What
block
a play!
party's still open for business.
Jacob Collicott said, not in my paint, not in my house, and not in my gym for sure.
Yeah, that block party don't stop just yet.
Matthews a three. Just short. Rebound pulled down by Reale. Matthews
Oh,
with
my
the
goodness.
steal on the other end.
Looks like a defensive back out there. Coach Kohler even says they keep track of those plays, calls them pick sixes. Shows off the athleticism of this team. Matthews had to get up there for that one.
Matthews loses his dribble, gets it inside for White, the freshman, going to work left hand. Just a little too much. It was hit out of bounds off of the foot of White, so it'll be the Scarlet Hawks ball. Hatton and Wilson in for CUC, as well as Jackson Jr. Furkan Muhammad in for the Scarlet Hawks. And now a timeout taken by the Cougars. 30-second timeout. CUC up 44-29 after some big-time plays. The dunk from Bishop Green, the block from Jacob Collicott. The highlights are being recorded here inside a Geisman Gymnasium in the second half. Still 9 minutes remaining in this ball game. Let's come back early. 5, 4. Timeout called by the Cougars. They have 3 remaining. The Scarlet Hawks also have 3 in their pocket. Full court pressure from the Cougars that has been very effective here in the second half. They've been able to get into it more because of the fact that there's been more made baskets. They've been able to settle down a little bit more. First half, Scarlet Hawks had the energy and tempo control on their side.
The Cougars have definitely taken that mantle here in the second after some big plays that we've been highlighting.
Davis, another 3. Davis, 3 for 4 from long range, now has 11 points.
Well, Cougars is still up by 12 now.
Season high for Davis previously was 7 in game 1 against Cal Lutheran.
So you still want to keep that tempo going. That's what the Cougars do best, but maybe slow things down a little bit too. Kill some time off the clock. See if you can cool off guys like Davis.
Matthews, pump fake, out. Ball was hit off. Hatton, long 3. Tried to bank it in. Hatton would have had a better look, but it was deflected by Dugalich on the wing. William Bishop Green checks in for Barkus Jackson Jr. Again, have to keep in mind Brett Hatton with 4 personal fouls, but also should say for the Scarlet Hawks, Milos Dugalich has 4 as well. The Cougars have really eliminated the big man from this ball game. He only has 2 points. Davis hands it off to Carter, the leading scorer for IIT with 12. Under 10 on the shot clock. Carter, couple dribbles, goes right, uses the left hand, can't get it to roll in. Greenlee with the rebound. Cougars in transition. Bishop Green goes in the paint, dumps it off. They're trying to get Hatton on the slip inside. Miscommunication by the Cougars leads to another turnover, their 12th of the game.
So coming out of that timeout, which was called by, Cougars' own coach Steve Kohler, that Cougars look a little bit slower, not as energetic. Scarhawks look like they're a bit more oomph in their step right now as they try to come back from this deficit.
Jordan Matthews picks up his first foul of the game. Shoulder to shoulder with Otis Reale. Inbounding for the Scarlet Hawks is Furkan Muhammad. Last touch by Bishop Green, another inbound on the baseline for the Scarlet Hawks. And I'm not saying it was the biggest moment in this game. We look at a lot of the highlight plays so far for CUC that gave them momentum. I think the biggest one so far that comes to mind is the technical foul issued against Terrence Gray and IIT from the bench. Kind of symbolizes that, you know, you have the opponent in shambles, and CUC was able to capitalize on that for quite some stretch.
See, after that technical, IIT just looked sloppy. A lot of miscues, a lot of thrown away plays that turned into turnovers that the Cougars then turned into points. You get some highlight plays from the Cougars, like, you know, a couple big blocks, one from Collicott, and then you get the, you know, William Bishop Green dunk. So I think you're kind of on point with that one, Carter. That technical just really threw an IIT team who was already struggling really into shambles.
Bishop Green keeps it in after losing it under the basket. Trying to go up and was rejected by the bottom of the backboard. Collicott! Someone call 911. The SWAT team's in Geisman. Jacob Collicott picks up another block. His second of the game. And he got up there for that one, too.
Well, it's Saturday night, and the block party's being hosted at Jacob Collicott's place.
Carter gets the inbound pass. Reala near the volleyball lines, now in on the left block. Gets Williams to leave his feet. Waits a couple seconds, and then the right hand finish.
This is a good run here by IIT. All of a sudden, they're almost down by 20 not too long ago. Now they're only down by 8. Cougars got to find a response quick, or IIT's going to keep that momentum going, get this one even closer.
Cougars were out by 18 at one point in this game in the middle of the second. Over the last 4 minutes, Scarlet Hawks have been chipping away and now are within 8. Collicott with another acrobatic play. Defying the laws of physics, Collicott now has 10 points.
I think acrobatic is what comes to mind when someone mentions Jacob Collicott. I mean, he's not the tallest player out there yet. He's getting up there for these blocks. He's putting up ridiculous circus shots that are somehow falling. He's just such a good, talented athlete.
And he draws the charge. Garrison Carter picks up his second personal foul. The Cougars have been able to get a couple charges called so far in this game. Brent Hatton comes to the bench. Elijah White back in the game. Bishop Green a little slow to get to the bench, but seems to be all right. Barkus Jackson Jr. in.
So these players are getting banged up. You're talking about how many charges are being called IIT's ways. Cougars are definitely taking some physicality to their bodies so far this game.
Emmanuel Wilson one-on-one. Caden Gigstad getting him some problems. Trying to get a 5-second call. Dumps it up. Jordan Matthews able to keep it. Corner for Collicott. Shot clock down to 8. Good possession for IIT defensively. Pump fake Wilson on the dime. Throws it up.
Play.
What a play by Emmanuel Wilson. You can't ask for a better defensive possession from the Scarlet Hawks right there. It's just Emmanuel Wilson just made a better shot and play.
No, great job by Jacob Collicott swinging that one over to Wilson. That was a great little sidearm pass, too.
Dugalich pulls back, misses. Rebound by Gigstad. Carter at the top. Matthews, a hand in the face. That misses. Another rebound by Dugalich. Spinning around, able to avoid Collicott and White. White with the rebound. Other way. Wilson up to Matthews. Sidesteps. Left hand finish.
Beautiful.
Jordan Matthews able to avoid Reale on the block.
Matthews is kind of like Collicott in that, you know, he's not the tallest guy out there, only at 6'1", but he's so sure-footed. He's such a good athlete. He's able to make plays like that look easy.
Foul called on Elijah White. Picks up his second, team's 7th, so both teams are in the bonus for the remainder of this game. Cougars up by 14, 4:12 remaining in this game. CUC's largest run, 16 points, has basically put this second half out of reach for the Scarlet Hawks. Up until this point, the Scarlet Hawks able to get a little bit of a run, but then the defense turned up for CUC. Scarlet Hawks, I should refer specifically to on a scoreless drought of 2 minutes and 10 seconds. As Garrison Carter misses the first free throw, couple changes for each team.
And the Cougars on a 6-0 run over the last 140. So, like you mentioned, Carter, the Cougars used that big run to really separate the scores. And now IIT did a great job pulling back. They got that score within 8, back in single digits. Cougars use a run of their own, pull back to make that a double-digit lead.
Carter comes empty-handed at the free throw line. Collicott will give it to Matthews. Little jab step, fade away. Rebound by Carter. Carter now with 5 rebounds in the game. Reale baseline met by 2 white jerseys. Pump face by Gigstad. Sidestep, over the shoulder pass. Reale a 3. Too much. Collicott with the rebound.
So that's a great defensive stand from Jordan Matthews. I think Gigstad in that corner was the first look, and Matthews a really good closeout. He got out there in a hurry that forced Gigstad to make another move, and I think IIT just didn't really know what to do after that.
Justin Greenlee driving. Collicott at the top, through the leg, step back, misses. The ball is kept in play by Zach Davis. Dugalich goes off, dumps it for Carter. Collicott meets him at the rim. And now a foul is called. An offensive foul is called. Jordan Matthews gets called for the charge. Reale hit the floor. Matthews picks up another foul. That is his second. But again, Jacob Collicott, 3 blocks. Couldn't come at a bigger time. Coach Kohler now out to have a word with an official. Timeout called by the Scarlet Hawks. 2:59 remaining. CUC up 50-36. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is shaping up to be a good one here inside of Geisman. Scarlet Hawks with 2 timeouts remaining. CUC with 3. Jacob Collicott, though, with 3 blocks, all highlight worthy. Jordan Matthews leading the offense for the Cougars. First double-double of the season for the senior. 18 points, 12 rebounds. He stumped it up. He had 8 points at the halftime break. Scarlet Hawks to inbound on the far side of the court. Milos Dugalich with 4 fouls. Only 4 points for the big man. To be more specific, only 1 made field goal. 2 points from the free throw line. In the corner, Davis a 3. He misses. He's been the hottest hand for the Scarlet Hawks from deep. 3 for 4 prior to that attempt.
Right now is where you can kind of slow things down if you're the Cougars, which it looks like they're doing a bit. Up by 14, 2:30 left to go. No, IIT's only way back in this game is to hit a bunch of 3s. So
Collicott spin around with the left hand. The sophomore now with 12 points in this game.
He's really done a good job of bouncing back in the second half. First half, Collicott. Look at the
William Bishop Green set up for the charge, but a little bit of a lean from him. He gets called for the block this time. His 3rd personal foul. Free throws to come for Dugalich.
3 for 8 in the first half from Collicott. 2 for 5 so far in the second half. So he scored 6 points in both halves, but he's been having some massive impact plays so far. I mean, you think about all the blocks he's gotten in the last 10 minutes or so. That right there is just a huge momentum shifter.
Timeout called by Coach Kohler after the missed free throw from Dugalich. Scarlet Hawks are 5 for 8 from the free throw line in this game. They trail by 6 with 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. Full timeout taken by the Cougars. CUC leading 52-36 in the second half. Again, we refer to it, 19-19 at halftime. CUC has exploded here in the second half, 33 points, but the shooting has been so much better for CUC, not just from three-point land, but just from the court in general, shooting 52% in the second half.
Well, that was 52% compared to their mark of 18.4% in the first half. And like you said, that three-point percentage has been really key in creating some separation. 4 for 8 here in the second half after that big 0 for 15 drought in half number 1.
Furkan Muhammad fouls Justin Greenlee. We are now under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Again, both teams shooting free throws for the remainder of the game. Justin Greenlee on the season, 3 for 4 from the charity stripe, a 54% free throw shooter in his career. Season low of 2 points. Last game against Edgewood, he has 4 here tonight. First free throw is good from the junior from Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Cougars up by 17. Greenlee misses the second free throw, but an offensive rebound by Collicott. And now Greenlee will take another trip to the free throw line. Foul is called again on Muhammad. We talk about the offensive boards for this team and how important it is, but Jacob Collicott alone, well, he has 6 offensive rebounds in this game.
Collicott's just doing it all right now. I mean, he's got 12 points on the day, but he's got those 3 big blocks we talked about. He's got, we talked about all the rebounds. He's got 8 now total, 2 assists as well. So in 31 minutes of action for the sophomore. So Collicott, not just a good pure scorer, but he can do a little bit of it all, especially that rebounding. It's been so tenacious so far today. He's not, the tallest guy out there, but he just chases them down, doesn't give up on the play till the CUC's got that ball back in their hands.
Goes 2 for 2 on his second trip in a matter of seconds. Gets summed out and replaced by Barkus Jackson Jr. Scarlet Hawks have to rely on the long ball now, but they haven't been so successful here in the second half from three-point land. Carter all alone. The Cougars forgot about him. They're pressing so far up high that Carter was able to sneak down low.
I think they're fine letting Carter take that shot. Still have nearly a 20-point lead as it sits at 17 right now. So a 2-pointer like that's not going to hurt you.
Foul is called on Caden Gigstad. Gigstad picks up his first personal foul. Double bonus now for the Cougars as Emmanuel Wilson hits the first free throw. 5 points, now 6 points for Wilson in this game. Coming off a fantastic sophomore year campaign where he averaged double-digit points and almost 4 rebounds per game. He's earned his way into the starting rotation last year, and he's been a big-time role maker in this season so far. Again, a lot of these Cougar starters, even when they're not putting up big numbers, they're making a significant impact still on the court as Greenlee gets the rebound.
And Coach Kohler's talked about it, how all 5 guys on the court can do just about anything. They don't really have, a specialist. They don't have a big man who's hogging all the rebounds. They don't have someone who takes all the steals, someone who's just a pure scorer. They can all do a little bit of it all, which makes them so dangerous because they can come at you from any one of 5 ways.
Under a minute to play in Geisman. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Collicott, 3, falls down. And now a flop warning is issued to Jacob Collicott. So a flopping technical issue to Jacob Collicott.
I think that's what IIT's bench has wanted for most of this game. Collicott's been on the floor a lot, whether he's been actually flopping or not, it's definitely been noticeable, and I think the IIT coaches have been a little upset with that.
So the first free throw is good from Reale. Only one there for the administrative technical foul is what it goes down into the box score. No real flopping technical foul you can put in there. You just have to go to the game notes after. 54 seconds remaining in the game. CUC up 57-39. Three from Carter, no good. Goes all the way out to Bishop Green. He gets over half court and pulls up in front of the CUC bench. The Cougars tied at halftime with the Scarlet Hawks, 19-19. Now lead by 18 points as they wind the shot clock down, on their way to picking up their 6th win of the season, their 3rd conference victory. Jordan Matthews, step back 3, rattles in and out. Shot clock off, 14 seconds. Bringing it down for the Scarlet Hawks is Reale. And it looks like the Scarlet Hawks will try to get one more shot off. Gigstad, top of the key, a 3, hits it, 1.6 seconds remaining. Gigstad now with 5 points at the end of the game. The final buzzer sounds, and the Cougars prevail. They win by 15 over the Scarlet Hawks, 57-42. They improve to 6-0 on the season, 3-0 in conference, and continue their historic start to their season.
Great response from the Cougars there in the second half. That first half was, not some of the best basketball they've played all season, tied at just 19 points apiece, but they came back. The second half looked a lot more like the Cougars were used to. Scoring, shooting percentages were up. That tenacity, that hard work that they're known for was evident all over the court.
Cougars pick up a big conference victory. They get ready to take on UW Parkside Monday night at 7 p.m. on the road in an exhibition match. For the Scarlet Hawks, they have to drive home and rebound quickly. They'll be back on the road tomorrow against Milwaukee School of Engineering at 3:30 p.m. Stick around, folks. Post-game interview with Coach Kohler coming shortly on the Cougar Sports Network. Well, Cougars improved to 6-0 on the season, their 3rd conference victory, and they do it a big way, 57-42 victory over the Scarlet Hawks. Coach, I know you talked about it in the Coaches Weekly with Peter Borkowski, how last year this was a game, or an opponent, I should say, that you felt a little bit off with. This was almost like a trap game last year for you guys. You got the regular season playoff clinch for conference. Yep. They beat you big time at their place. You come back here, you beat them big time here. Yep. Talk to me about the game plan adjustments from the first half to the second half.
We were just living and dying on every shot. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever seen an 0 for 15 from 3. I told them, I hope we go 1 for 31 and we find a way to win it. I mean, we cared too much about it, and it just was like, oh, we missed another one. And we just said we need to start moving the basketball, right? Get 2 outs, get reversals, paint touches, and get them to guard, And we honestly, we told them you're open for a reason right now, right? And we were just kind of trying to will threes. And our guys did an awesome job. We picked up the defense, though, and that's what got us going offensively.
Well, you guys weren't able to hit your first three-pointer until the 16:30 mark of the second half. But after that, you guys started to get on a roll a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you guys keep track of the selflessness and sacrifice chart. And it seemed that during that second half, especially in the opening minutes, that was a big priority for you guys. And it jump-started the offense. You guys were able to finish 50% from the field in the second half.
Yep.
There was a clear difference in shooting for your team in the second half, and everybody was contributing, especially your starters, and more specifically, we saw Jordan Matthews pick up the double-double.
Yep.
To have a guy like him able to lead this team, and not always going to be the one that's going to have the most points after we saw last game. What was his role today in this game, and how did that contribute to the outcome?
Well, I just want to go one thing. I mean, that turned when we started getting Elijah White the ball inside. I mean, because we weren't getting any inside presence, and then we started getting it inside, and he kind of got us going. But J-Rock, he's just a leader, man. I mean, like, we're trying to run stuff and everything, and that's all well and good. But if he has the ball in his hands at the end of the clock, he makes plays. He just knows what he's doing. He's one of the best players in the country. He's proven it now for 3 years here, basically. And he just kind of had the ball in his hands and was making plays, So, I don't know. I think it just defensively, we sped him up a little bit more. And the defensive side, we had 5 kills in the first half, too. We shoot for 7 in a game. I haven't heard what we had in that game, but when we get kills, that leads to runs. And Coach told me it was like 51 to like 11 or 19 runs, something like that. Well, it couldn't have been 50. I don't know what it was.
Well, you were able to get out to a big run in that second half. 16 points was a 16-0 run, as we talked about.
Yeah.
But again, I want to focus on Elijah White.
Yeah.
This is a freshman coming off of the bench, understanding his role, coming behind Brent Hatton. But Brent Hatton gets into foul trouble early. But Elijah White matches what his season high was of 7 points. He's starting to do his thing and really made a big impact here in a conference opponent. And that's exactly what you want to see from a young guy. But seeing guys like him step up in those situations, as a coach, how does that make you feel?
I took your next talking segment, so I apologize for that by hitting Elijah White first. But he just continues to get better. His nickname is Easy, right? Because he's a little bit laid back and everything, and he's an awesome kid. But he's learning what it takes to play at the college level, and it's every possession. There is no possessions off. And we've just been having those side conversations with him, and he's been getting more and more aggressive. The kid is so talented, and he's just scratching the surface right now, and he's starting to turn it up with his work ethic, and now he's starting to see the results. But we needed him tonight. I mean, that was big. We talked about J-Rock and him making the plays, but like I said, Elijah got us going by having that inside presence.
You talked about it after the game against Edgewood College. The team didn't really celebrate.
Yeah.
And even though that is a conference win on the road, you improved to 5-0. They didn't celebrate, and you were kind of shocked by that. Well, you went at home against a conference opponent after being tied 19-19 at half, which could have been one of the toughest shooting performances in the first half. Your team responds. Now you get ready to gear up against Division II UW Parkside on Monday night. How do you think the team's going to celebrate when you walk down in the locker room?
Oh, we're going to celebrate. I'm going to come in there running off the walls. So we're going to, you have to find a way to get it done. It was like you mentioned, a tough offensive half, but really good teams just find a way. And we've been doing that. Like, we haven't been playing great basketball, but we've been mentally tough and we've been finding a way. And that's a pretty big turn into the second half. So we'll celebrate pretty hard.
Well, go down there, celebrate with your team. Best of luck Monday night. And, hey, congratulations. Cougars now 6-0. That's right, folks. They keep their historic start to the season. Want to thank everybody here inside of Geisman Gymnasium with the Cougar Sports Network for behind-the-scenes work and game day production. Carter Gledhill signing off from Geisman Gymnasium. Hey, great day to be a Cougar. They win again. We'll see you back the next time we have more action here at Geisman Gymnasium.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.